Hi guys, welcome to our lesson on solving two-step equations with integers. This is super similar to what you guys did in the homework assignment last week of two-step equations with positives. Now we just add in a little bit of harder numbers. So these are the exact same steps as they were last week. Identify what type of math you see. Do you see multiplication? Do you see division, addition, subtraction? What do you see? Identify the inverses, show both inverses on both sides, and simplify using those integer rules. So let's go ahead and review. These were your warm-up questions that were on the board when we started class today. You should be able to solve these guys. So let's go ahead and do that now. All right, here are the correct answers for those. As you can see, I showed both inverses in red here on both sides. What I saw in your homework was a lot of you tried to show the inverses all at the same time. Do not do that. Show the first inverse, solve it, and then show the second inverse. People tend to mix up their inverses when they try to do them all at the same time. Do not do that. As you can see here, I did the distributive property. So again, I multiplied the 3 times the b and then the 3 times the 4 to really get my new equation of 3b plus 12 equals 24. You could have just divided by 3 first and then subtracted by 4, and you still would have gotten x equals 4. But I did the distributive property first. Okay? So these are review. These steps are also review. You've already written these down. Remember, step 1, write and simplify. Step 2, use the order of operations backwards to undo our math that we see to solve our equation. Show inverse number 1 on both sides, then inverse number 2 on both sides. Solve using integer rules. You'll do it again by showing inverse number 2, and then you can check your answer at the end. Again, you've already written these steps. The only step that's added in here is using integer rules, but you have calculators, so you might as well use those. If you need time to write these steps down, you'll press pause. All right, so let's go ahead and look at our first example here. The two types of math I see are division, and then I see addition. I know that I see this sign here that might make me think of subtraction, but because it's next to the division sign, I know that it's really dividing by a -5. I need to figure out which type of math am I going to get rid of first. I have division and I have addition. Well, remember I'm doing order of operations backwards. So as we see over here, I need to get rid of my addition or subtraction first. So to get rid of a plus 20, I do the opposite or the inverse, which is minusing 20 on both sides, making sure you show that minus 20 on both sides. Next, I need to get rid of my divide by a -5. So I do the opposite and I times by -5 on both sides to get my final answer of m equaling 50. Over here in these boxes, I showed my math, 10 minus 20. That's really 10 plus -20. Here, different signs, -10 times -5 gives me a positive 50. All right, so now we're going to have you go ahead. We're going to walk through this one together. So I see here, when I'm looking, I see addition and I see multiplication. So we need to figure out which one of these am I going to get rid of first. Well, remember, we follow the order of operations backwards. So I need to get rid of any type of addition or subtraction first. So I need to get rid of that plus 3. To get rid of a plus 3, I simply minus 3 on both sides. My plus 3 and my minus 3 cancel each other out. So all that I'm left with over here is negative 9x equals negative 24, take away 3 more is going to give me negative 27. If you're unsure of that, you can use a calculator. You have them, so use them. Okay. Now I need to get rid of that negative 9, which is being multiplied by the x. So to do that, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to divide by negative 9 on both sides. Divide by negative 9, divide by negative 9, and I end up getting an answer of x equaling positive 3. So it's exactly the same as what you did with the positive numbers. You just have negatives now. And you have a calculator, so it really shouldn't change it too much. Okay? Making sure you show those steps that I showed in blue. And your work pretty much looks identical to mine. It should look the exact same as mine does right now. Go ahead and you try this one in your notebook. All right, here's the correct answer for this. If you need more time, make sure you pause. All right, so you can see here, did you show the minus 3 on both sides? Then did you show dividing by negative 7 on both sides to get x equals 3? You have to, your work needs to match mine exactly. So look at my work, look at your work. Does it look exactly the same? If it doesn't, you need to correct it. Let's go ahead and have you try this one. Remember, sometimes it can be written backwards, but it doesn't actually change our work. So if you wanted to rewrite it as y divided by 4 plus 6 equals negative 14, you can do that. So if you want to switch the order, you are more than welcome to do that. All right, here's the correct answer for this one. All right, so we ended with the correct answer of y equals negative 80. Did you multiply by 4 on both sides? Did you subtract 6 on both sides and then multiply by 4 on both sides? Does your work look identical to mine? If not, if you do not show these inverses on both sides, then you are not getting full credit. Actually, you won't get any credit. I'll return your assignment to you. You have to show inverses on both sides. All right, go ahead and try this one. The numbers are a little bit harder, but the process is exactly the same. And you have calculators, so you might as well use them. Go ahead, pause the video and try this one. All right, here's the correct answer for this one. All right, you should have ended up with the answer of p equals 5. So we subtracted 5.7 on both sides, solved it. Then we divided negative 4.2 on both sides. Okay. Let's go ahead and we've got one with fractions. Same idea, guys. Remember, you can use fractions on your calculator. So it's this little A / BC, something like that button. Some of them are just a slash that shows your fractions. I'd be glad to help you with where your fraction button is if you need support. Go ahead and try this one, and then we'll check our answer together. All right, so first thing we need to do is we need to get rid of this plus 2/5 that are attached. So in order to do that, I'm going to subtract 2/5 on both sides. Subtract 2/5 on both sides. These 2/5 cancel out. So I'm left over here with 2/3 m. Little extra on them there. There we go. 2/3 m equals, I'm going to type it into my calculator. I have negative 1/5 minus 2/5. And it spits out for me negative 3/5. fifths. So you can see I'm typing that in. Good. Now, to get rid of the timesing by 2/3, I need to divide by 2/3 on both sides. So these 2/3 cancel out. I'm just left over there with m equals, I'm going to type it in, -3/5 divided by 2/3. And it spits me out an answer of -9/10. So again, using that calculator speeds up fractions and decimals and even integers. Use it. You have access to it. You can use a calculator on the test when you return to school. So again, use that calculator. We've got another fraction you try. I'm going to have you guys try this one on your own. Press pause to give yourself some time. All right, here's your correct answer. All right, so here, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this -2/4. In order to do that, I add 2/4 on both sides. My new equation is k divided by -1/2 equals -1/4 times 1, -1/2 on both sides, k equals 1/8. All right, let's try another one here. We've got -48 equals 16 plus -2x. This one looks a little scary, but you can rewrite it if you wanted. We could rewrite it so that the x is on the left. We could rewrite it as -2x plus 16 equals -48. So what I did here is I switched the stuff that was on the equals sign. I switched the sides of the equals, but then I also switched the order of my addition because addition can be written both ways. So rewriting it like this might help you in the long run. So if you wanted to rewrite it as -2x plus 16 equals -48, you could do that. So go ahead and try this one in your notebook. All right, here's the correct answer for this one. The first thing I did here was subtract 16 on both sides. My new equation is -64 equals -2x. How'd you do on that? Did you get this far? Did you show -16 on both sides? All right, here's what to do next. Next, I divided -2 on both sides. Divided -2 on both sides, which will give me my answer of a positive 32. Again, x equals a positive 32. Make sure you don't lose that -2, but dividing by a -2 on both sides and showing that. All right, what I want you to do now is I want you to pick one. Go ahead and pick one and solve it in your notebook. Press pause to give yourself time to solve. All right, here are the correct answers for those. How did you do? Did you get the right answer? Look back at your notes. Did you show the inverses on both sides? If you got the wrong answer, why? Did you do an incorrect inverse? Did you do your inverses out of order? Or did you just do funny math like 2 plus 2 equals 5 type math? Let's go ahead and look at a challenge. So the first thing I notice is I need to get rid of this +2 here. In order to get rid of a +2, I need to subtract 2 on both sides. So I'm left over on the left with a -k. And on the right, 12 minus 2 is really a 10. Well, I can't have a negative k. I need a positive k. So, to get rid of that negative in front, I simply need to divide both sides by a negative 1. Which, a negative k divided by a negative 1, that's pretty much saying negative 1 divided by negative 1, creates a positive k. And 10 divided by negative 1 gives me a negative 10. So as you can see here, I pretty much just switched the signs. The negative k became a positive k, but the positive 10 became a negative 10. So again, you just switch those signs. If they were both negatives, well, when I divide them by a negative 1, they both become positives. Okay, so again, as long as whatever you do to the left, you do to the right, you're all good. Go ahead and try this one. First, you need to write the equation. Then you need to solve it. All right, here's the correct answer. Now here's the correct equation. So we have 5 plus y, 5 more than a number y, equals negative 8. To get rid of adding a 5, I simply subtract 5 on both sides. And I end up with the answer of y equaling negative 13. Okay, so in some cases, you'll have to write an equation and then solve it. This is like one of the examples, or one of our warm-up questions today. Personally, I like to apply the distributive property here. So 8 times x and 8 times 9 to get my new equation of 8x plus 72 equals negative 56. Okay. Then I can get rid of the plus 72 by minusing 72 on both sides. My new equation is 8x equals, I have a calculator, I'm going to just type it in, negative 56 minus 72 is going to give me negative 128. I'm not done because x is still not all by itself, and that's our goal here. So I'm going to divide both sides by 8 to get x all alone. And I end up getting, I end up getting negative 128 divided by 8, x equaling negative 16. So this is no different than what you did with positives. I just have negatives now, so the calculator is really going to come into play here. Go ahead and you try this one, and we'll check your answer once you're done. All right, here's the correct answer. All right, so I applied the distributive property to get 5m minus negative 35 equals 45. Adding that negative 35 on both sides is going to give me 5m equals 10. Divide both sides by 5, m equals 2. All right, here we need to combine like terms. So I have a negative 5b plus a negative 7b. Those can be combined to give me a negative 12b equals 36. Now I have a one-step equation. I can get rid of that timesing by negative 12 by dividing by negative 12 on both sides. And I end up with my final answer of b equaling negative 3. So sometimes you'll have to combine like terms first and then use inverses to get your variable all alone. Go ahead and you try this one. Pause the video while you work, and then we'll show you the correct answer. All right, here's your correct answer. All right, so we've got the 5x and the 12x subtraction combine to make a negative 7x equals negative 28. Divide both sides by negative 7, x equals a positive 4. So again, that was our lesson for solving two-step equations. Big things, remember, you can show how to solve two steps by showing inverses on both sides. We also worked on some equations from word sentences and combining like terms to solve one and two step equations. You do have homework, journal page 52, 1 through 7. Make sure that you upload a picture of that into Google Classroom. If you want some extra practice, that is on textbook page 86.